like to party. Listen up, yeah, it's time to start it. And I know you got it. You with me, let's rock this party. All the girls on the side say, and all my fellas on the side say, tonight we're gonna fly high to the skies, 'cause we're gonna have the place of the good life. And we go up. We're gonna rock this boat till it goes up. Yeah, we're gonna live the good life. Yeah, we're gonna do it all day. Tonight, we're gonna live the good life. Alright, let's go and live the good life, the good life. Tonight, we're gonna live the good life. Alright, let's go and live the good life.
Okay, got it right now. I had problems figuring I clicked something wrong, and I wasn't showing up, so that's why you got to see all that scrolling stuff for a while till I got it figured out. I know it's all part of going live. You got to have little ups and downs. So happy Friday, everybody! We have a very small crowd in here today, but I'm glad to have the people we have. We got good old Lindy Lou, the first one in here today to hold the fort down and keep everything nice and warm for me. And Just Dave is here. And I see Griswold Family Vacay was here. I think they left, though, but hopefully they'll come back. And we now have Margie Butcher in the room with us. Margie, good to see you. Can't wait to meet you sometime on a cruise, hopefully on an Holland America cruise. And then we got good old Ronnie. Life is good today. His show's coming up later, so we got to make sure to enjoy his show as well. So it seems like I keep putting my shows before his. I guess I like having his to go to decompress after my show. So it takes a while to get used to everything, but hey, what the heck. Hopefully everybody is, Najuma Brown I see is here, and Nautical Nurse Nancy. Glad to say I got the right screen up here now where I can see more people. And and Alma's here too. I've been trying to keep up with the Marco Polos all day, and boy, I haven't had a chance to do much at all. It's like you try to watch the Marco Polos and they come in as quick as you can follow them, and I'm still not caught up yet. So eventually I'll get caught up with it, or I'll just skip them, one or the other. So I hope everybody is having a beautiful day out there. I know here it's supposed to have been rainy all day, which I wasn't really looking forward to. I had a funeral to go to this morning, but it ended up being nice and sunny and warm out. It's like 73 right now. So I can handle that kind of weather. I got the windows open and the fresh air blowing through the room here, and feels good. I got my dumpster delivered this morning, so if anybody's been to my Facebook page, you saw that. That dumpster is bigger than my car, so I could pull my car in it and throw it away. But hopefully, I got plenty enough stuff I want to get rid of, and I'll get that thing filled up. If not, I'll invite neighbors to fill it up. It costs me the same whether I have it half empty or full. So I'm going to fill that thing up one way or the other. But I don't think I'll have any problem filling it up with all the stuff that I got to get rid of. Oh, goodness. Anyway, so what has everybody been up to today? I know some people probably had to work. Said I went, yes, I did go. I went to that funeral today, and I've got a issue to bring up that I brought up in the Marco Polos, and I want to bring up here and see what everybody thinks. What do you think about when you see a funeral procession? Do you pull over to the side of the road for respect, or do you just drive on by? Now, mind you, we're out here in small town USA in the central part of Illinois, so it's not like we're in a big city tying up traffic or anything like that. Most of the people pulled over to the side of the road. There were a few people that kind of just drove on by, but the majority of them pulled over. But one thing that really got under my skin is somebody at one point we were in a part of town where we got like a 4-lane road, 2 going each way, and we were on the inside or outside lane. Somebody come by on the inside lane, cut in like 2 cars in front of me, cut into the line, which I think is illegal anyway on a funeral procession, and then slowed down to make a right-hand turn instead of just pulling in. I was the last car on the line. They could have just stayed right behind me and got there just about as quick. But yet they pulled in, interrupted our line, and held it up while they turned. And I thought, oh my gosh, now that there ought to be a law against all that if there isn't already. And I just wanted to do all kinds of unnice things. But other than that, everybody seemed to be pretty respectful, and we tied up a lot of traffic at one point by the interstate because we had to go over the interstate, and our procession, people coming off the interstate weren't cutting into through the line, so they were backing up the traffic onto the interstate. But at least we were a small enough line; it didn't back it all the way up. So that was pretty good. But it's just one of those things, the little pet peeves I had to kind of air out and see what everybody thought of it. Other than that, the rest of the funeral went well. So, but I don't like when people don't show respect in any way, shape, or form. Eric B., I see you're here. Great, glad to have you joining us today. And Vizo, what's up, YouTube? I'm glad you're here as well. So, one of the things that I did when I switched this time slot, and I wasn't sure how many people we would draw, but last night's time slot we're competing with some people, and I don't like to do that. So, I was chatting with Papamozo the other day, and he used to have this time slot, and he freed it up and said I'm welcome to it because he probably wouldn't be using it for a while. And I thought that was pretty nice, and I'd give it a try and see what kind of crowds we get at this time. I know some people aren't off work yet, especially towards the West Coast, but we'll give it a try and see what happens. Tonight, I want to cover my plans or my ideas. Anyway, I don't have the plans yet Hey, Jennifer, Moonshine Jennifer is here. Good to see you. Glad to see you here. Thank you for coming. Um, I want to talk about my plans for a group trip on Route 66, and hopefully for 2023, because I'm kind of busy for the next couple of years. I'm not sure if we'll do it in the spring or if we'll do it in the fall. We don't want to do winter because that gets too cold up here through Illinois and parts here in the central part of the U.S. And I definitely don't want to do it in the summertime when we'll be going through the desert time. The desert's hot enough as it is. We sure don't want to have to mess with that. So I'll be looking forward to see what everybody thinks is the best time to do something like that for you. Hey, Anthony, there you are. I was wondering if you was going to show up tonight. And guess what I figured out how to do? Ta-da! You're now moderator of another channel. uh, we were kidding him the other day, trying to see if he could remember how many different channels he's a moderator on. Well, by golly, we'll just add you here. What the heck? Anyway, I was talking about the Route 66. My idea is to travel from Chicago all the way out to California and then back. And we figured that it would probably take 3 weeks to a month, maybe, to do all of that and to make all the stops places. My goal is to plan the route so that we see the different sites split up, so it's not like we're not hitting all the sites there and then just driving nonstop back, so that we'll have half the good sites going out, half the good sites coming back, and then people can jump on and off the whole trip if they want, or if they want just to do say they only have like a week free, and they live in New Mexico and want to take it like from New Mexico through to Missouri, they could just drop on that. Now, depending on how many people we get, we can then kind of decide whether we want to do a everybody in their own cars or campers and stuff, or if we want to do kind of like a carpool of big motorhomes or something, or get a bus and do it. But if we're going to have people dropping off here and there and not going the full thing, it'd probably be best for people to be in their own vehicles or own campers or whatever, so that we can go. And I would try to pick, if along the way, different places, whether they be hotels, campgrounds, or combination of, especially so that those in campers can camp, those who not can stay in hotels or the little motels, which you got along Route 66. I stopped by my AAA office yesterday, I guess it was, and got a nice map that's got a lot of the stuff all laid out on it, and tour guides for each of the states we're going through to find out more information of stuff that's either along the route or nearby it or something, so that we can try to plan different stops along the way. You can see below here, I tried to post the Facebook link in a text message, but it didn't seem to stick, so I don't know what I got to do that. But that's the link for if you can't find it, just search for Dewey's Route 66 trip, and it'll show up. And hopefully we can start discussions there, so that over the course of the next couple of years, we can kind of get things planned and see what people think, share ideas, and some people who maybe have been on different segments of it or live near it has ideas. the more we can share, and then I'll try to get a list together of all these different places, and we'll lay out an itinerary so that people can jump off and on it. And then, granted, it's not a cruise, it's not an all inclusive stuff, but I think it could be a lot of fun. I've always wanted to do the Route 66 because there's so many neat places. You can search for it on YouTube, just like any other trips, and there's lots of places you can find of people that have done it and different stops they've made, and so I think it'd be an exciting trip. Um, it'd probably cut into a lot of other people's travel plans, but that's why I want to try and get it on the agenda early so that people can plan around it if they do want to go. So keep that in mind. Stop by the Facebook page and share some ideas and thoughts, and we'll see what we can generate on that. In the meantime, has anybody here been on Route 66 before? And if so, what have you stopped to see? It'd be interesting to hear about some of that. I know here in Illinois, I've seen bits and pieces of it because it goes right through the state here, but I haven't ever really stopped at any sites related to Route 60. Oh, I take that back. Over in Springfield, I actually was at a cafe that's a Route 66 cafe, and it has a museum in it and stuff. I was over there for some meetings one time for a week, and I had a day off between meetings, and so we went and did the touristy things and saw a bunch of stuff like that. So that was fun. Of course, most of the tourist stops have museums of some sort built into them along the way. Does anybody live along the route or near the route? That would be interesting to see if anybody's close by it already. Here you go. Visa says he lives in Tulsa, and there's lots of sites there. You've got a playlist. I'll have to definitely go check out on your page and see what you've got and put this when I'm putting these things together. So we'll see what's worth. Anybody else that lives near it or along it or ever been to it? I know it covers, I think, what was it, 2,600 miles, I think, from the beginning to end. I'll have to get these stats down in my my head before the trip ever happens, but it'd be interesting to see that. I like to drive, so going on a trip like that would be ideal for me. Margie says that she's driven from Flagstaff to Seligman, Arizona, and Kingman to Oatman, Arizona on Route 66. Kingman was beautiful when I was on the train. We got very fortunate that my train trip was delayed. Now, most people don't think of a train trip being delayed as fortunate, but we were delayed enough time. I think it was like 7 hours by the time we got there, that when we passed through Kingman, it was at sunrise in the morning instead of in the middle of the night like we normally were, because I think we were scheduled to go through there like at midnight. So you wouldn't have gotten to see anything. And boy, that was just awesome, the way with the sunrise coming up over some of the mountains and stuff. And I think I got some really good pictures there. I'll have to go through some of that stuff and try to. I need to start putting some of my vlogs together, but it was just even a lot of the crew had commented that they had not even seen that area in the daylight before, because they always hit it in the middle of the night. So that was a new experience for them. So everybody enjoyed it. Hey, Gary Krebs is here. Glad to see you stopped in here. We're talking about the Route 66 trip. Eric B says he's been on just a little bit of the route in Arizona while on a bus tour from Vegas to the Grand Canyon. I've never been to the Grand Canyon yet either. Can't believe, as much as I like to travel, there are so many places right here in this country that I've never been to yet. So needless to say, when cruising doesn't happen, I can find plenty of other things to do to keep me busy. So that's why I started all my travels last summer by going over to Branson, because that's within driving distance here. I think it was a little between 7 and 8 hours. I could get over there, and that was kind of strange driving all that way by myself. But hey, if I got the radio on, then I'm happy. And now I've got Wi-Fi in my car, so I can keep up on the Marco Polos and stuff like I was doing today. And so that's kind of fun. Helps you to pass the time. And Visa says, which direction are we planning to go? Actually, what I would like to do is start in Chicago, since I'm here already, and go all the way out to LA, and then turn right around and come back, and split up the sites along the way, so that, like half the sites we see going out and the other half we'll stop and see going back, so that it's a long enough trip that if somebody wants to do the whole thing with us, they can. But if they can only do part of it, they can hop on, whatever part has stuff that's the most interesting to them, depending on where they live. So I don't know if that idea would work, but between Marco Polo and Facebook, and there's so many different ways we can keep in touch with people, that it would be real easy to let them know, okay, we're due into this such a town at such a time. We're going to be at such a place. We'll look for you there, and you can join the cavalcade of vehicles, and even while we're on the trip, I envision people being able to keep in touch either through Marco Polo, WhatsApp, or something like that, where we can share information while we're traveling along the way. If somebody sees something, hey, make sure to look to the north, there's this or something, if it isn't the place we're planning on stopping or something. So I think that could be a lot of fun as well. And I know when we were little kids, we did oh, there we go. Ronnie found it. It's Route 66 is 2,278 miles long. So I was a little heavy on 2,600. But when we were little kids, when we would go traveling and stuff, if we were ever in multiple vehicles, us kids would have walkie-talkies. That was back before phones and all that kind of stuff. So we'd have walkie-talkies to keep in touch with each other between the multiple vehicles. And we always thought that was kind of fun. And gave us a chance to kind of stay in touch. And the area where I grew up, there was like 4 of us families that all grew up in this. There was like our house, the next door neighbor, the neighbor directly across the street, and the neighbor directly next door to them. So it was just like one giant yard with a street in the middle of it. We all congregated everywhere, and even the adults did. It wasn't just us kids. The adults all got along good and did adult things, drank and played cards or whatever, and all of us kids played, to the point that if you ever got grounded in your yard, you often forgot that all those other yards weren't part of your yard. I don't know how many times I got in trouble because I was supposed to be grounded, and here I'm running next door or going across the street, and I would get yelled at for it. So you kind of have to remember all of that kind of stuff. But it was a lot of fun, and whenever we would go on, a lot of times we would go vacations, not big ones, but little ones, to nearby attractions or something like that, and that was always fun. Lindy Lee says there's no Alana show tonight. There's quite a few shows not going on tonight. Alana's show's not happening. Two Traveling Tours not happening tonight. Kim's not feeling well after she got her second dose of the shot. Excuse me. Oh, and but I'm not going to go all night. It's bad enough trying to find an hour's worth of time to talk my head off without boring everybody. I'd love trying to go on all night. But after this show, I believe Ronnie's show is on after mine. And then tonight, Anthony is taking over. Yep, there, right there. He says Anthony will be on at 11 o'clock Eastern time in Two Traveling Tours site. So I believe we're going to play the All Roads Lead to Travel game that To Travel and Tour play all the time on Friday nights. So who knows what'll end up? And it seems like whenever Anthony gets going, and when I'm on there too, sometimes we can last 3 or 4 hours sometimes. So you never know what to expect tonight. So you have to make sure to stop by there. Margie Butcher says she's driven through California on Route 66. Have you ever been all the way to the ocean at the end where it ends? I think that would be kind of cool to see that, because I know at the Chicago end it has a plaque that says the start of Route 66, mile 0, and all that. So I'm assuming out in California they have one that says the end, and probably says the 2,278 mile marker or whatever. So it would be quite interesting. Sadly, a lot of the original Route 66 is not around anymore. Some of it's been paved over into big, interstates, and some of it's been replaced with the interstates, so that the original road has gone into disrepair and is nothing more than just, in some spots, kind of like a gravel road alongside the interstate. So you can't really travel on Route 66 nonstop. Some places you got to get onto the interstate and cut around and all. But we'll try to stay on it as much as we can, because I'm the kind of person, when I travel, I like to I like to see things. So I don't want to sit there and just cruise along on the interstate where all you're doing is going through farm fields and more cars and stuff. That's not really my idea of a lot of fun. And hey, Cindy, glad to see you here. Thanks for coming and join us tonight. We're talking about what I hope to plan in 2023 with a Route 66 trip. I was always wanting to do that, and so now that's kind of become my group adventure that I want to try to accomplish at that time. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be interesting to see how many people we can get traveling along it and stopping at all the different stops, and it would be pretty interesting. And hopefully I can get work with a travel agent to help line up everything to happen, especially any places we need advanced reservations for and that kind of stuff. See, Visa says when he's not pressed for time, he likes to go to Oklahoma City using Route 66 instead of the Turnpike. So, and I like those smaller roads like that. We used to do what we call going on rolling picnics, and we would just kind of pick a direction and head that way. And the only rule was we couldn't go on an interstate. So you took all small roads, and the whole purpose between our rolling picnics was that you couldn't, you just, when you're traveling and you often get to an intersection because you're headed somewhere, so you got a timeline and you might always wonder what's down that way. Well, on a rolling picnic, that's the way we go. So you hit an intersection, you just kind of look and say left, right, or we keep going straight, and you make your decision. So sometimes it'd be a short ride, just driving around through the countryside that we had never seen. One day we put over 600 miles. We started off early in the day and got back after dark, and we covered we down into southern Illinois, southern Indiana. I mean, we put a lot of miles on that day, but we had a lot of fun. So, I just got the alert that Life is Good today is on at 6 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock Eastern. So he's definitely on after me. So you know where I'm going to be. But those rolling picnics were a lot of fun. And Lindy Lou says she was an angel. She never got grounded. For some reason, I just can't picture that you never got grounded, Lindy Lou. But I'll take your word for it for now. But we'll have to discuss that some other time. Oh, goodness. let's see what trying to keep up and falling behind on the chat again here. Do, 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 do. Oh, Margie says she's been to the Santa Monica Pier, and I bet is that got a big sign that says the end of the Route 66 at that end. It'd be interesting to see, and of course, all along the way, we'd have to document things with video and pictures. I mean, we're not vloggers without being able to do that, after all, and so it'd be real interesting. Yeah. Yeah, Lindy Lou, we are a good pair when it comes to talking. I can sit there and talk by myself for a long time, and then when you get you and I talking, we can talk for hours on top of that. So we'll have to get you up here for next time they want to pull an all-nighter. We'll just bring you up. We could talk all night long. I don't know if anybody would want to listen to us, but I kind of I've been kind of halfway keeping track of there's a I think it's an RVer group that's been doing like nonstop for like 17 days now. And they've always got, the guy who started it, if he's got a rest or something, they got other people live on the screen to keep it going, but they've been nonstop 24/7 for 17 days. So it's like if you're into the RV community and stuff, you could probably be there and talk anytime you wanted. I think it'd be kind of interesting to pull a stunt like that with our cruise community, kind of like a traveling the marathons did, except instead of just back to back to backs, we just have kind of one large show with people coming and going on it, and see how long we could keep it going. Because there's enough of us out there that I bet we could keep it going for days on end, and so that would be really interesting. Oh, let's see what else is going here into the chat. It's so hard to follow it sometimes. So much of it scrolls by. I see we got California cruisers out here with us. Glad to see you join the group. And we're just sitting here talking about the Route 66 trip that I hope to plan. And we got a link across here for the Facebook page. So hopefully we can get people join that and we can start up the conversation. Hey, Tyler, glad to see you're here too. I wanted to get to your show today, but I was busy getting things ready for my show, so I didn't make it over there. I apologize. But somewhere throughout the course of the planning of this trip, we'll have different one on my shows here. We'll talk about different segments of it and what's planned. I would like to get a group cruise sometime along the line, but there's so many others going on that once we start cruising, if we get to go, that would there's like no need to keep flooding it with more people and group cruises, because plenty of them going on now, and I'm on most of them, I think. So that'll be fun once we get going. And still, I saw today where the American Steamboat Cruise Line, which is different from the American Cruise Line that I'm going to be on in a couple of weeks, they just inaugurated a new paddle wheel steamboat for their river cruises, and so they're up and sailing as well. So in 2 weeks from I think it's 2 weeks from tomorrow we set sail. See, today is the 9th. Yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow we will set sail. I'll be in New Orleans 2 weeks from tonight. So hopefully I'll be in a position that I can go live that night from New Orleans, depending on hopefully we got good Wi-Fi at the hotel, and or else we can find a good spot somewhere. So we'll see what develops there, and I'll do my best to try to go live that evening. The weather should be nice. And I'm hoping that it won't be rainy or anything like that, so we can explore, because I've never been to New Orleans. So there'll be a lot of things I still want to see. That should be a lot of fun. I know a bunch of the travel community has been down to New Orleans already. So if anybody lives down there, I'm going to be arriving on Thursday night, the 22nd, Thursday afternoon. I think something like between 3 and 4 o'clock or something. I think something like that. And so it'd be interesting to meet up with some people if anybody's down around there. So that'll be a fun trip, and I'm looking forward to that. We've made it past the halfway point on this show, and I got a few, like I did yesterday. I got a few little news stories that I put my own little twist on, and I'm calling it the cruise news with a little bit of spelling on the news. So let me find my list here and see what kind of things we got. See if where's it? Travel. Okay, where did I put it? Well, now I can't find it. Oh, goodness. Well, I guess if I learn to spell it right, I'd find it. There it is. Okay. Okay, good. So for today, I've got few news stories that I put my own little crazy spin on. See what you guys think of all of these. Virgin. Some of you had heard us talk on Marco Polo's about the Virgin cruise. If you took their courses, you got free cruises. Well, I'm going on mine in September. They've postponed their cruises here in the U.S. all the way through the 17th of September. So now it looks like the first cruise that I'm on starting on the 22nd of September will be their inaugural U.S. cruise. Unfortunately, it won't be the inaugural cruise of their ship because they're going to the United Kingdom this summer for 2021 since they can't sail here. Well, I come up with an idea that I bet you I know why they're going, and they could sail from the Bahamas or something like everybody else is doing, but I think Virgin wanted to go to the United Kingdom because they couldn't find enough Virgins here in our part of the world to sail with them. Just saying, you never know. Of course, Virgin Islands, they have to keep taking people on cruise ships there because there's not enough there either. I've been there before and couldn't find them either. So maybe that's why they went up to the United Kingdom, thinking they could find some up there. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Yeah, I know on that first cruise on the 22nd, Bill and Lucy from MGM Family Travel will be on that one. And on the second cruise on the 27th, Mark and Stephanie from the Cruise World, they'll be on that cruise. And I'm doing a back-to-back originally it was to save, flying down there and for a short trip, but now it looks like it's a good possibility that I could be living down there at the time. So it won't matter so much, but it'll be fun either way. So, yeah, I think Nautical Nurse Nancy likes my little silly twists on the news stories. So hugs to you, Nancy. I'm glad you enjoy them. I got another story. So go from one coast to another. This one is Alaska, and they've been talking about the 2021 season going off with the small ship cruising season because big ships are shut down so far. Can't go through Canada, but the small ships can still sail through there. American Cruise Line has some small ships up there. There's quite a few. Viking, I think, has got some small ships up there. But it's kind of an interesting twist on there. They're going to open up the season to the small ships, but I don't think the rowboats and fishing vessels are going to count. Just saying. They'll have to be a certain size, I guess, so that they can actually call it a cruise. So if you're living up in that way and you've got a boat with no time to spare, you can probably take people up to Alaska. They'd let you, but I don't think they could call it an actual cruise. So that was just kind of my view on the new uh, Alaska cruises. And Lindy Lou says something about how about the reborn virgins? Does that count? Well, if you can find some reborn virgins, then that Virgin Cruise Line should be looking for them. I'm sure. It's like that's I'm sweet and innocent and as good as a virgin, so that's why I'm going on them, right? Okay, well, we'll see. Oh goodness gracious, we come up with some crazy things sometimes. Uh let's see here. Next one, we got the cruise lines report a record demand for new and future cruises. Well, golly, can you imagine that? I wonder why. With all these people that need to rebook all the canceled cruises or lose out on their credits, it's like a log jam. You're going to get all these people that keep having to rebook on cruises. Well, there's still people that are getting an interest in cruising that would like to cruise too, and it's getting harder and harder for some of these people to find cruises. But hey, if they want to make it news and say that there's a record demand, and I wonder why. I know there's a lot of us in the cruising community just trying to book anything that'll go. So I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there as well that are trying to get on those ships. And then the biggest news of the day today is that volcano that erupted in the Caribbean near St. Vincent Island. And that's down kind of south and east, almost to South America. And a whole bunch of cruise lines sent ships there to help rescue people off of that island. Well, my interesting twist on that, I wonder how many of these cruise lines did something to get that volcano activated just so that they can go down there and get people on their ships and start doing some cruising. You never can tell. They can be sneaky. I mean, after all, they've been taking our money and not giving it back for months on end. Maybe they're going to get these people on the ship and then say, hey, guess what? We're going to sell you drink packages and we're going to stop at ports and sell you tours. It's not US, so they can pick them up and they can call them cruises. Mark my words, they'll come up with something. We'll have to see what happens on there. But that was my cruise news for today, anyway. So let me know if you like those kind of odd little stories and my twist on them. Like, I mean, the stories aren't odd, but my twists are. So if you don't like them, I can try other things, and if you do like them, I can keep trying to find the story. So we'll see what happens. I did find a story that I thought was interesting that I wanted to share with everybody. So you may have seen this. I saw it was shared on La Lita Loca, but if you don't follow their page, you probably haven't seen it. The passenger steamer SS Warimu was quietly knifing its way through the waters of the mid-Pacific on its way from Vancouver to Australia. The navigator had just finished working out a star fix and brought Captain John D.S. Phillips the result. The Warimu's position was at latitude 0 degrees 31 minutes north and longitude 179 degrees and 30 minutes west. The date was 31 of December, 1899. Now, what does this mean? Well, the first mate, Peyton, broke in and said, we're only a few miles from the intersection of the equator and the international date line. Now, that's out there in the Pacific, and the date line can really mess things up. I know when I fly to Australia, it seems like it takes me 2 days to get there But when I come home, I actually arrive home before I left, thanks to the date line. So it's kind of weird the way all of that goes. But anyway, Captain Phillips was prankish enough to take full advantage of that opportunity for achieving the navigational freak of a lifetime. So he called his navigators to the bridge to check and double check the ship's position. He changed course slightly so as to bear directly on that particular mark. Then he adjusted the engine speed. The calm weather and the clear night worked in his favor. At midnight, the SS Waremu lay on the equator at exactly the point where it crossed the international date line. The consequences of this bizarre position were many, and that's what caused them to want to do this. So if you picture an X, between the international date line and the equator, well, the ship was diagonally through that point, so that the forward part of the ship was in the southern hemisphere and in the middle of summer. The rear of the ship was in the northern hemisphere and in the middle of winter. The date in the aft part of the ship was 31 December 1899, while in the bow in the front the part it was the 1st of January 1900. This ship was therefore not only in 2 different days, 2 different months, 2 different years, and 2 different seasons, but in 2 different centuries all at the same time. Now, wouldn't that be an exciting trip and a big ass party at that when that all happened? It's fun enough when you cross the equator. They have a ceremony, and I can never remember the name of that, but they do a ceremony for people that cross the equator. But can you imagine being at that point on such a New Year's event like that? That would be really interesting. Of course, we passed our chance to do it now, and most of us will probably never be alive when it comes time again to do it. But we can do all of them except for the different centuries anyway. So that would be kind of interesting to try. But I just thought that little story was intriguing, and I enjoyed that. So I wanted to share that with everybody. So if you hadn't had a chance to read it, you heard it here. So now when you run across it, you'll say, yeah, I know all about that. Let's see here. Kevin Counts, he's here tonight. Thanks for being here. Yep, I did 2 days in a row, mainly because I was scheduled for Thursday, but then I'm changing my schedule to Friday. So I wanted to try both of them out this week and see what they do. For now on, for a while at least, I'm going to be here at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern on Fridays. There were people on the Thursday time slot that I was competing up against, and I don't like to do that, especially in our own travel community. So I don't think there's anybody else going at this time slot on Friday. So Papamozo gave up since he's not feeling well and not doing his lies. He said I could take his time slot for a while. So we'll give this spot a shot. Oh, I can't talk today, and see what happens with it. So, yeah, leftover barbecue from last night. Oh, that would be good. I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner myself yet. We had some ham and pork and roast beef and stuff at the funeral this afternoon, but yeah, I'll get hungry somewhere along the line, and maybe I'll look through the refrigerator, see what's there. Let's see what's going on. Oh, King Neptune ceremony. Thank you, Margie. That's what it's called. I've seen some YouTube videos. That's the ceremony they do when you cross the equator. Has anybody here been through that ceremony? Have you crossed the equator and done the ceremony on the ship when you do that? That would be real interesting. Hopefully get a chance to do that somewhere along the line. I've been close to the equator. Oh, go away, people. Jump call. Sorry about that. But hopefully one of these days I'll get down underneath the equator so that I can experience that. So that would be kind of good and fun to try. Um, yeah, sorry about the phone ringing there, Lindy Lou. Um, so between the cell phone and the other phone, you never know what's going to happen. Where I did remember to turn the sound off on my cell phone, but can't turn it off on that one very easily. So, uh, nautical nurse Nancy says she's crossed the equator in an airplane, and I'll get a chance to do that this New Year's when I go down to Australia. But I don't think they do anything when you do it on an airplane like they do with a ship. So, um, well, I'll have to wait and experience that. But if I go on my world cruise in 24, I'll get a chance to try that out, I'm sure. Um, yeah, yes, Alma, I do still have a landline here, and it's mainly because my cell phone doesn't always get good reception here. And here I'm still in town, and I can look out my window and see 2 or 3 cell towers, but they're obviously not the cell service I picked because my signal is weak. And if anybody's ever tried to call me on that line, they realize we drop calls a lot. So I still keep the landline just in case. One of these days, I figure I'll get a strong signal here, or else I'll keep switching around over time. And well, now I don't have to worry about it because I'll be moving. So hopefully, I'll get better cell service wherever I'm at in Florida. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, I probably won't get a landline there. I'll just use my cell phone, and if somebody can't get a hold of me, they'll just have to email me, text me, or one of the other many ways. Okay, Margie says she's seen the ceremony, but she hadn't participated. I was wondering because I know you've been down to South America. So, when you went on the Amazon, did you start north of the equator, or no? Where's the equator? Does that go? I'm bad on my geography now, but is that when you cross the equator? That would be interesting to see the ceremony, or at least or even participate in it. So. Okay, yes, she says on the Amazon trip she crossed the equator several times. So that would be fun to try out, and I hope to do that sometime. Okay, Nancy asks, "How's the hunt for places going in Florida?" I just one of the realtors sent me a very interesting looking place today. It was a small place. It was under 1,000 square feet, but it had 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it had a nice little screened-in porch and a very. It's kind of like the porch area goes out into the little backyard. So with it being screened in, there's not much of a backyard, but it still looked like there'd be enough area to let Izzy out to go do her business whenever she needed to, and unless we were going out for a regular walk. But there's a lot of water nearby, and I thought the street name was cute because it's like Knob Hill Lane or something like that, and it's like that sounds kind of intriguing because I used to live on Easy Street once upon a time, and I had fun with that one. Matter of fact, when I moved there, I quickly got my driver's license changed just so that I'd be able to show people that yes, I really do live on that street. I'm not making it up. But it was kind of fun to say that I had life on Easy Street, and of course, it wasn't quite as easy then, but it was still fun to say that. And so we'll just see where I end up in Florida. I said I'm still waiting and seeing how things go. I still got to see how quickly I can get things going here. Now with the dumpster here, that my next few days will be very busy with going through and dumping things out. Then by Monday, my brother-in-law shows up, so we can start going through some of their family stuff and see what he needs, because I don't know what a lot of it even is. And so that'll kind of keep me motivated for a while, and I'll get rid of this. I've got this dumpster for 10 days, so I think I'll have no problem getting it filled up with junk. And once I get going, I think it'll get me on a roll where I just keep throwing and throwing and throwing and throwing. And if you've ever been in my house, you can tell I got a lot of stuff to throw out. My wife had been after me for years to get the garage cleaned out as well as everything else. every year we say, yeah, we'll have to get us a dumpster and do that. And then all of a sudden the next year rolls around and we're talking about the same thing. We need to do that. Yeah, we'll have to get a dumpster and do that. And I am an excellent procrastinator. I can postpone things till the cows come home. And these cows hopefully have just now come home. So, and that dumpster's big enough. I got room for the cows. If you've seen the picture on Facebook, that thing is bigger than my car. I could open up the door, one end, just drive my car right in if I want to throw it away. Of course, I'm not going to do that, but I was really surprised when I pulled in after the funeral and saw that big old box out there, because I just got the biggest one they had because I had no idea how much stuff I'm going to have. And I figured if I can't fill it up, then I'm sure I can find enough neighbors and stuff that have stuff to throw out that we'll get our money's worth out of it. So, but we had gotten a much smaller one when Martha's dad passed away. And when we cleaned out his house, we filled it up in a heartbeat. So I figured, he didn't have near as much junk as I do. So I figured if we could fill up that one as quick as it did, then I should have no problems getting this filled up. And I've got a lot of big, bulky stuff that's been sitting in the garage forever because it's kind of stuff you can't put out with the regular garbage. It's like some old recliners that were broken down and stuff. And once I move some of that out, that's going to make a lot of room in the garage as it is. And I got to try to make some room in there because a lot of the stuff that my brother-in-law will want to go through is all up on shelves on one side of the garage. So I got to make room we can get back in there. And so there'll be a big time to go through all of that stuff and see what happens. Let's see here. Okay, Lenny says she lived on the corner of Magical and Mystery. That would be an interesting neighborhood to live in. So was it a Magical Mystery tour? There you go. I bet that was fun at Halloween time. Said now the street I live on, it's just called Landis Farm Road because that was the name of the farm that used to be out here, I guess. And so it's not as exciting as Easy Street or something like that. But hey, hey, Emma, thanks for coming to the show. I know you guys got your show to get ready for. Oh, it's almost 6 o'clock too, so I need to be wrapping things up here too as well. So, yeah, Nancy, don't worry. I won't dump the cows. We'll leave them in the field somewhere. After all, I am a beef eater. I don't want to throw it away. I'll eat them first. Oh, yeah. And it is tricky to sort through the collections of life, that's for sure. The other night, I went to bed early for me, which was 11 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the morning, I was still awake. My mind had been rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling on stuff about everything I had to pack up and move. And so it's like, I'm going to do my best. And if it gets to be too hard emotionally or whatever, then I'll just plan on packing up the things I want to take with me to Florida, and I'll get somebody to come in and have a big estate sale and just clean out the house for me after I'm gone. So we'll see what happens. I'll just have to play it by ear. Let's see. Ronnie and Alma, they posted their well, now I see you had to put in some extra dots to get your YouTube show to show up in the chat. I'll have to remember that. Okay, so Anthony did that. Okay, thank you, Anthony. I tried to post my Facebook page and it didn't work earlier, so I don't know if I was doing something wrong, or I guess you got to break it up like you did. So, well, everybody, it's 6 o'clock now, so I want to thank you for coming to the show, and let's go over to Ronnie and Emma's and see what kind of fun we can have over there. So. We'll see you next Friday. And in the meantime, you have a great week.
Yeah. Yeah. Chicks out there would like to party. Listen up, yeah, it's time to start it. And I know you got it. Let's rock this party. All the girls on the side say And all my fellas on the side say, never gonna fly high to the skies, 'cause we're gonna have a taste of the good life.